related arts. So right now I'm going to give you a quick little transition so you can go ahead and put all your stuff away, and then I want you to come sit quickly and quietly on the carpet. I'm going to be looking for a table group that is doing the best job of coming to the carpet, alright? When I say the word of the day, you may begin. Remember, when the music is off, that means your voices are off. Igneous. Wow, thank you for coming to the carpet and sitting so quietly and nicely. I really appreciate all of you. It looks like table 1 did a great job of cleaning up and coming down to the carpet, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a table point. Thank you, table 1. Alright, so we're going to be talking more about area, finding the size of what's inside the shape. But before we can do that today, let's go over our I can statement. So let's read it together. When I count down from 3, we're going to go ahead and go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I can find the area of a rectangle by making arrays and using the area formula. So I'm going to tell you about that area formula because it's a little secret that I know that I want you to know. But I'm not going to tell you quite yet, so hold on. Alright, to get all brains warmed up and thinking and ready to go, let's go over this problem I have that I made about Miss McCarthy, okay? Miss McCarthy wants to get a new rug for her classroom. The size is 3 feet by 5 feet. What is the area of this rug? How can we figure the area out? So I want you guys to think about what we talked about yesterday, using the pattern blocks and the unit squares, or even the Cheez-Its. And I want you guys to think about how you can figure out the area. So go ahead and turn and talk to your partner, just the person closest to you, about that. I'm going to give you about a couple seconds to think, so if you have a good answer, just put your finger on your nose and then we'll stop. Alright, it looks like just about everyone's ready. Go ahead and turn and talk about what the area is and how you would figure it out. So during this time, if I was teaching this lesson, I would stand up and go walk around and talk to all the students, just kind of circulate around the rug, make sure that what they're saying is on topic. And then just also making sure that if they have any questions or anything, I can be sure to answer that when we get back to the lesson. Or just kind of listen to what they're saying so that can guide what I'm going to say when we come back from this. I'm also going to get out my pattern blocks and make sure they're ready. I'm only going to give them a minute to talk because this is just a hook, so we're just kind of getting warmed up, and then we're going to go back into it. But I want to hear what they have to say. So I'd probably ring the chimes to gather the students' attention back, and then I would continue on with my lesson. So, ding! Alright friends, can I have your attention up here? I had some really great conversation. I was really impressed by everything you guys were saying. Can I get a couple of my friends to share something that their partner said? And here I would have students raise their hands, share what their partner said, build off that, and kind of like have that mini quick discussion, only like a couple minutes. And I want them to share what their partner said, so that means they were listening to what their partner said, and they can actually verbally say it back to us, which means they were really paying attention. Of course, I would use all their feedback to really guide and do what I'm going to do here, but I'm just going to do what I had planned since I don't have any feedback to go off of. So it's 5 feet by 3 feet, and we know from yesterday that a unit square is 1, and how many unit squares are in the space is what the total area is. So I'm going to make an array. I'm going to go 3 feet by 5 feet. My things are sticking to my fingers. And then what can we do? Can someone raise their hand and tell me? Yes, thank you so much. We can add them all up, and then that will be our total area. Okay, so can you guys go ahead and count with me? Let's go ahead and start. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So our area is 15 unit squares, but in this we have feet, so it would be 15 feet. The area of the rug is 15 feet. So Miss McCarthy has this rug, it's 15 feet, and she has to decide if it can fit in her classroom and if she wants it. I'm sure she's really proud of you guys that you figured that out for her. Alright, let's move on. Now I'm going to tell you the secret formula. So, area is the number of square units needed to cover a region or figure. It is measured in square units, so we can use these square units to figure out the area. So that's one way. We can draw out square units in like arrays or use the pattern blocks, but the secret formula is length times width equals the area. So over here I have, here you can see the perimeter is the area all the way around the shape. The area is the space inside the shape. And then the length and the width are the two sides. So to find the area, you just multiply these two numbers together. So for example, if we talk about Miss McCarthy's rug, you take 5 feet and you multiply it by 3 feet. And we all know what 3 times 5 is. Someone raise your hand and tell me 3 times 5. Thank you, Miles. It is 15. 15. So this is really important, and I want you guys all to remember it because you can use this in all areas of life. Once you know how to figure out area, you can measure tables, you can measure books, you can measure football fields, you can measure stuff around your house, around the school. An area can be used all over, so it's really useful. So length times width. Now we're going to do something. Yesterday we used these unit squares, but today we're going to kind of build off from that, and we're going to draw our own unit squares. So we're going to tile the rectangle and draw the unit squares, and then add them up to find the area, and we will also use the area formula. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and draw out my lines. And when I do it, I want to make them as even as possible, but we all know it's not going to be perfect because I cannot draw a perfect square. So just try to make it as even as possible. And so I have 1, 2, 3, and I need to draw 8 this side. If I was to do this in a real lesson, I would do this up on the smartboard. For the first couple problems, I would just model it completely so that they get a really strong idea of what they need to do. And then for the last couple, I might have a student come up and draw in the arrays and help me do the multiplication and all of that. But for now, we're just going to do it on paper. And I'll hold it up so you guys can see what I'm done. Okay, so I'm going to draw 8 sections. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you guys can see they're not quite perfect, but I think it's good enough that we can tell that these are unit squares and how many we'll need. So I'm going to go ahead and count them up. And remember, when we count them up, I'm going to actually draw the numbers in them so I know exactly how many it is and I don't get confused. So I'm going to do that. You guys can count with me if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I have 24 unit squares. So I know my area is 24 centimeters, because in this you can see it's cm, so that would be 24 centimeters. Now, to draw all those arrays and to add it up, that kind of took a minute, didn't it? Can't we use our magic formula, length times width? And then we can do that. So that means I would multiply 8 times 3. And that would equal our area. Can someone tell me what 8 times 3 is? Raise their hand. Yes, Rihanna. Thank you. Can you tell me what it is? 24. Good job. So we know 8 times 3 equals 24. So that was so much faster, wasn't it? So we can use the secret area formula to figure it out. And that's really helpful because what if you had to multiply, what if the area was like 55 times 42? It would take you forever to draw unit squares. So you can just multiply the length times the width and use the formula to figure it out. Now remember, when I have 24, it should be 24 centimeters because that's what we're measuring on. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Oh, here we go. I have the length is 8 centimeters times the width, which is 3 centimeters, equals the area of 24 centimeters. So 8 times 3 equals 24. And that's kind of how we do the formula. So here we're going to do the exact same thing. And I'm just going to show you real quick how I'm going to do it. So again, I'm going to draw the arrays. And if I have the 5 up here, that means there needs to be 5 rows down. No, 5 columns down and 7 rows across. So 5 lines this way and then 7 rows this way. So I'm going to do that the best I can. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to make sure that it's even as possible. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can always double check. I'm using a marker so you guys can see it clearly, but I really want you to use a pencil so you do not mess up. Make sure you use a pencil. Got it? 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm sure you guys are already thinking about what you could do with the area formula. But let's real quick count this up and add it up with me. And again, I'm going to mark off each one as I count it so we hit them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, it's taken a long time, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Woo! So I have 35 unit squares. So I know my area, I'm going to write it down, my area is 35. Now when you guys do your problems, I also want you to add up the perimeter. And remember, when we do the perimeter, you're just going to take the spaces around and you're going to add them up like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I think you guys are pretty confident at that, so I'm not going to show that for you right now. We're just going to focus on the area on the inside, the space on the inside, which is the area. So my area is 35, and this is measured in feet. So I need to make sure to add a little FT. 35 feet. Okay, so that again took forever. Can anyone tell me how I could use the area formula to figure this out faster? I'm going to go ahead and call for my name. Let's see. Serenity, do you have an answer for us? What is the area formula? What would I do? Yes, that's exactly right. I can go length times width. So that is, multiply the two sides together. So that is 5 times 7. Let me call on someone else to give me that multiplication answer. Wesley, do you know what 5 times 7 is? If not, you can always phone a friend. Close. Anyone else know? Right, 35. 35 feet. So we know our perimeter for this shape is 35 feet. And again, we're going to look over here, and we can know the length is 5 feet times the width of 7 feet equals the area of 35 feet. 5 times 7 equals 35. Now lastly, on this last one, I would print these out for the students so that they can draw on them with me while I'm up on the board, just to give them something to do. And then also, I would also probably have them have the whiteboard so they could multiply it out and give me the problem that way. Alright, going back into it. Now we're going to find the area of both pictures. And we're going to circle the picture that has the greatest area. So let's say you have, these are picture frames, and to give this a more real life situation, your mom's trying to decide which picture is going to fit in which picture frame and what picture frame she wants to put on the wall. But see, this one's a square and this one's a rectangle, so she doesn't know the sizes. She can't just add them up because they're not the same shape. So we can use area to figure out which one's bigger. So I want you all now, can I get my paper passer to come hand these out? Just give one to each student. And they would take a minute to do that. Okay. So I have my pencil, and all you guys have your pencils and your picture frames. I want you guys to, for this one with the flowers, I want you guys to draw your arrays. Remember, do it as neatly as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to use the area formula to figure out the first one and then the second one. But go ahead and draw your arrays on this one. I'm going to go ahead and start. I want to see you all working. Make sure you count the spaces in between. See, right now I've drawn 3 lines, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. And if I draw one more line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want to draw 5 lines, I want to have 5 spaces. This can be a little confusing. And again, on the other side, I also want 5 spaces. And remember, sometimes we can make mistakes with this, and that's also why we use the area formula, so we can double check our answers. It's kind of like using the inverse operation when we're doing multiplication to check our answers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I drew my arrays. I want you guys to keep doing it, and I'm going to go ahead and count them up, so if you're done, start counting your arrays. Your unit squares. Sorry, 1. I love how you guys are so focused and staying on task. See, a lot of you are almost done drawing your arrays and are about to start counting. Yeah, some of you have already counted. That's fantastic. 20. Okay, so I finished drawing my arrays and my counting them up. I'm going to go ahead and write, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to give you guys 1 second more to finish up so then we can get everyone on task. Alright, it looks like most of you are done. So let's call up together. When you counted up your unit squares, what was your area? Tell me. Hopefully at this point they all give me the right answer of 25. If not, we would talk about, oh, you said 24, why did you say 24? If you said 30, why did you say 30? And why did you say 25 was the right answer? And just kind of talk about what they said. But I'm just going to skip that and go on with the lesson right now. I counted 25 unit squares, and I think most of you did too, so that's fabulous. Remember, that took a while, didn't it? So what's our magic trick? The area formula, right. So I'm going to do length times width equals area, and it's 5 times 5, which I know you guys all know that. Tell it out to me. 25, thank you. And we're going to do inches because this one is measured in inches. So our area, I'm going to write it up here, equals 25 inches. And then you guys can see this is my paper with my area. And I want you guys to go ahead and start on the next one. Draw your arrays, count your unit squares, and then if you can't, go ahead and do your area formula. But I'm just going to start with drawing my arrays first. Remember, I'm going to have 4 rows across and 6 columns down. So lines this way and this way. Okay, so I drew mine. Remember, you want to count the spaces when you're doing it. Like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I'm supposed to have. And if I go down, 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys keep working. I'm going to go ahead and count up my unit squares. Also during this time, I could stand up, walk around. If I notice one student is particularly having a struggle with drawing their arrays, then I would go up and I would talk to them and help them like draw it out and show them exactly what I mean, because it can be a little bit confusing how to draw the boxes and like how many to get. So I'd definitely be up and aware of what everyone is doing. Okay, so I just finished counting my unit squares. I'm going to go ahead and do my area formula. I think most of you are done writing your unit squares, so go ahead and see if you can do the area formula by yourself. Remember, it's length times width equals area. I'm going to write that down. And I'm going to go ahead and figure it out, so I'm going to multiply my length times my width. And remember, this one is measured in inches, so put that in your final answer. I'm going to give you guys a minute just to finish that. And again, if this was a real class, I would definitely be up and around. I would probably do it real quick, and then go up and help them, and then come back and put it under the ladybug. Or I guess this would be on the smartboard and talk about it. Oh, I might do it under the ladybug. Okay. I'm going to call you guys' attention. I want you to put your papers down, markers or pens on the floor, put your caps on it. I want your hands in your lap and eyes up here so we can really pay attention super well. So when I counted my unit squares, I had 24, and I think a lot of you had the same answers. That's really good. And then when I multiplied 6 times 4, let me see if I can find someone who knows 6 times 4. Jaden, what is 6 times 4? 24. And this one is in inches, so it'd be 24 inches. Great job. So we're not done with the problem yet. We have to figure out which picture has the greatest area. So I'm going to go back over here and say this area is 25 inches and this area is 24 inches. So which one's bigger? Everyone tell me. The picture with the flowers. Yes, that picture frame is the biggest because it has an area of 25. Great job. You guys did fantastic. I'm so proud of how well you guys are all doing during this lesson. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys about your stations super fast, and then we're going to go ahead and start doing that, alright? I put your homework out on your desk this morning. For your homework, again, I want you to draw the arrays and make the unit squares as best you can, and then use the area formula to figure out the area. So I want you to draw the arrays and use the area formula, and we're going to do both ways just to double check our answers. And remember, you can always use pattern blocks or just square pieces of paper. Some of you might have a lot of Legos, and so you can find the ones that are the little squares and use those as unit squares, and then that way you can build it out, and also you can draw it, you can build it, and you can use the area formula. So there's lots of ways. So make sure you do this and bring this back to me so I can see how awesome you did. For your independent practice, I'm going to hand this out, but we're going to do this real quick. The first two are ones that we already did in class, so I want you to redo them and draw them yourself, but it should be super quick because it's 8 times 3 like we did and 5 times 7. And then there's a couple more. So you guys work on that now right away. Before you go, I have one new station for you, which is some task cards. These might be a little challenging, but I think you guys can do it. I want you to get out for this one, I want you to get out your math notebook. I want you to make sure you draw pictures and write the answers in your math notebook. You can just, like, if you're doing task card number 5, put a little number 5 there, so I know that's the answer to number 5, and then you can draw your picture or write your answer. So one of these problems is Kessler's bedroom is 9 feet by 7 feet. So then you could draw a rectangle, and one side would be 9, and one side would be 7. Okay, and then I'm going to keep going. His sister Jasmine's bedroom is 8 feet by 10 feet. So then you would draw another rectangle, just kind of like what we did here. And then you're going to figure out who has the bigger bedroom, how many square feet it is. So you're going to find out whose bedroom is bigger and what was the area. So that problem is exactly like here. You just have to draw the pictures. Now I know these task cards are a little bit challenging for the students. I want to go ahead and give them so they can start them now and work on them throughout the week. And if I really see students struggling, I can always be a part of that station either today or tomorrow and just work with the students on the task cards, show them how I want them to draw the pictures and help solve the problem. And then they, practicing using the area formula, drawing the unit squares, or using the pattern blocks. Also, class, you're going to finish your stations from yesterday. So if you did not finish writing your name, I want you to do that. And then also this roll and find the area. If you do not do that, I want you to finish that. Class, you're going to be using dice and you're going to be using the pattern blocks. So I want you guys to make sure you're respecting those learning materials and they're not all over the floor. Okay? If you're doing the roll and find the area, you only need 2 dice. So get just 2 dice. When you're done, put them back or give them to the next group. For these pattern blocks, just like in yesterday's lesson when I had you keep them on the whiteboard, if you're going to use pattern blocks, I want you to get a whiteboard, put the pattern blocks on the whiteboard so they're not all over the floor. When you're done, put them back in the bin and put them away. Okay? When I say the word of the day, I want you to go ahead and start your stations. I'm going to put the station rotation up here. If any of you have questions, stay on the rug and I'm going to answer those for you. Alright? Remember, when you're doing this independent practice, the room should be pretty quiet because everyone's working. When you're doing your stations, you can talk, but I don't want it to be super noisy in here because some people will still be concentrating, okay? So talk, but make sure it's about math and stay as quiet as possible. Alright, when I say the word of the day, go ahead and get at it. You guys have done fabulous. Igneous. So during this time, I would make sure that if there were any students that stayed on the carpet and have questions, I would just see what their questions are. If they had a lot of questions, I would take them to the background table and work with them, probably on this independent practice, make sure we're drawing it all out. My math club kids will come in around 10:45 and 10:50. So when they come, I'm going to take them to the background table. I'd probably just bring my computer so I can show them the PowerPoint and like my little pieces of paper and just do it on paper and pen right in front of them, so we don't have to distract the other students with the smartboard, and they can be also right close to me. When I'm done with that mini lesson, I would have them stay at the background table for them to complete their independent practice, so that whole group is in one small area, and they'll probably have the most questions, and that group is my lowest level of probably most of my groups, so then I can make sure I always